What had happened to hip hop? Drake's lawsuit with UMG explained. Here's what you need to know. Virginia says just different and not to be compared, just to understand without prejudice. Exactly. But they feel the need to compare for whatever reason. So Drake decided a few days ago, he pulled back the petition, and people thought, oh, he's falling away. He decided against it. He decided not to do it. And then the very next day, he put forth a full lawsuit, federal lawsuit against UMG, accusing them of defamation using the Kendrick Lamar "Not Like Us" song. Even though he didn't, Meet the Grams is right there. Anyway, we're going to get to that. Drake has filed a lawsuit in federal court against Universal Music Group, accusing the company of defamation, harassment, and deceptive business practices regarding the success of Not Like Us. And I want to give a shout out to Honorable. Because we listened to that song live on this show. And when I first heard it, I liked the song, obviously. And I immediately said, because he used certain words, that this song would not last more than 2 months. It's a beef song. It's a beef record. Like, these songs don't typically last, a whole summer. And Honorable was in the comments and she said, this song will be here till next year. And we here next year and it's still here. So shout out to her. She was right. Regina says, Drake is dead and he knows it, just trying to collect his final coins. They Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar. Well, there's a lot of ways to look at this. First, I'm going to speak about it, not in support, but just another way to look at this. Obviously, with Drake suing UMG over a rap beef record, something that is historically a part of hip hop and black culture, which is, back in the day, I'm going to show a video later of Rudy Moore, where back in the day, you're talking about the 60s, 70s, or whatever, you would speak a certain way about yourself. You would big yourself up in this rapping manner. And over time, it became about your DJ. You would boast up your DJ. And then it turned into demeaning the person you're going against. It became, kind of sinister. That was probably the 90s, probably where the turn happened. Now in UMG's response, they pretty much said, hey, you want us to silence another artist's creativity. We didn't say anything. We simply published a song that another artist made. So I asked the question, if this goes through and he wins, that's the end of beef records. You're probably not going to do any more slandering on any record ever again at that point, because you can be sued and the label is not going to take the hit for that. But I wouldn't be completely against it if it stopped these dudes from getting on records dissing dead people. There's been stories every month almost where somebody is killed because they have some song dissing some dead op, quote unquote. We saw the one in New Jersey, or was it Philly? I think it was Philly. The guy he went to somebody's grave and dug it up and was talking crazy on a song, and then he ended up getting killed. We know it's a known thing in Chicago. Then you got to go down to Florida with the Fulio dude. So I would like for that side to stop, but I don't want the label to be able to dictate what should be censored in songs. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. Honorable says, K-Dot for the win, bring it back to true meaning of hip hop. Honorable says, how many people win defamation cases? The black man's son is trying to force rules into rap battle. Well, that old saying, like I said, he didn't get the warmth or the adoration that he wanted from the culture, and he's willing to burn it all the way down. He don't care. He don't care about being a part of the culture anymore, being accepted. He wants the numbers and he wants the money. Facts, Drake is a meme. So let's get into some of this. And by the way, recently, amid Drake's legal war, Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us hits 1 billion streams on Spotify. The summer single, one of the several to come from the feud with fellow rapper Drake, was one of the biggest songs of 2024, hitting the top of Billboard Hot 100. So, celebration for him. And it's clear with the success he's had with that song, the true thing that Drake is trying to stop, to me, is he's trying to stop that song from being performed at the Super Bowl. It's kind of obvious. He even mentions the Super Bowl in the lawsuit. I'm going to show it in a bit. Let me just go. And obviously, Universal responds. Let me read what Universal had to say. Universal responded, not only are these claims untrue, but the notion that we would seek to harm the reputation of any artist, let alone Drake, is illogical. We have invested massively in his music, and our employees around the world have worked tirelessly for many years to help him achieve historic commercial and personal financial success. That sounds like that's a thinly veiled threat to me, saying that we've put money into you as well. But anyway, throughout his career, Drake has intentionally and successfully used UMG to distribute his music and poetry, to engage in conventionally outrageous back and forth rap battles to express his feelings about other artists. He now seeks to weaponize the legal process to silence an artist's creative expression and to seek damages from UMG for distributing the artist's music. We have not and do not engage in defamation against any individual, the statement concludes. At the same time, we will vigorously defend this litigation to protect our people and our reputation, as well as any artist who might directly or indirectly become a frivolous litigation target for having done nothing more than write a song. Regina says, showing true Ashkenazi colors. Exactly. Honorable, Drake game plan was to use the beef to demand more money from the label, and it backfired. His behavior in his aftermath is truly who he is, the Canadian Jay that claims his father was never around. Yeah, it's funny he said that because I remember an interview that his father did where he said, Drake, why are you telling people that I wasn't around? And he said, Drake told him, well, that's what you have to have in hip-hop, Dad. That's a story you got to have. It was crazy. That's why Kendrick said in that song, Meet the Grams, using your father for a reputation, I think he's asked for more paper and more paper and more paper. You should pay him all the money in the world. He brings you legitimacy. I just was just thinking it sounds like daddy issues. Yeah. So let's get to it. I'm not going to read this whole thing out. I'm going to read certain parts I want to get to. So let me leave out. Let me go here. In this article, he goes through line by line, his lawyers went line by line, and there's some funny memes they're using here to point out that he thinks people believe he's actually a pedo because of Kendrick's song. So his lawyer went line by line. Let me just jump here. Right here. I'm going to show this. It says, the recording also repeatedly suggests that violence should be used against Drake because he is a pedophile. Like the sound of someone being beaten up, the recording repeats wop, 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 and then says Lamar will F him up. Later, the recording threatens that if Drake comes to Oakland, where Lamar grew up, he did not grow up in Oakland, he would not make it out alive. I think that Oakland show going to be your last stop. The recording makes clear that justice will be served not through the legal system and or commentary on social media, if a caption, but through physical violence. Now, with that line, well, the lawyer has many lines like that in the song where he's saying that Kendrick Lamar is calling for violence against Drake, which is a crime. It's a threat, communicating a threat. So I'm pretty sure y'all have already seen Drake, I think it was last year, a couple of years ago, during the Young Thug trial, he signed a petition to stop rap lyrics from being used in court. But his lawyer is using rap lyrics in court not to just prove defamation against Drake, but to prove that Kendrick was calling for a crime to be committed against him. So this case can't just stay at UMG. The stuff he's accusing Kendrick of doing in the songs it's got to at some point spill over to him. And I think I've seen some people say, to me, this is a setup really for him to at some point sue Kendrick Lamar. We don't want to go down right here. Further, the recording refrained that Drake is not like us. The recording alludes to Drake's Jewish heritage, saying that Drake is now not a colleague, but a effing colonizer. They're trying to say the reason, and further in the lawsuit, they go on to say that that's anti-Semitic. They're accusing Kendrick Lamar of anti-Semitism for pointing out Drake's calling him a colonizer. Because a whole bunch of comments on the internet obviously began to point out Drake's heritage, saying that his Jew boss or whatever, his brethren, was going to protect him. Now I want to show one more thing. He said, within days after the UMG initial publication of recording an image which depicted the location of Drake's residence in Toronto, Drake's house is in magazines and all type of social media posts. He's never hid where he lived or his address. He had a whole song where he said where he lived and gave the directions to his home. accused him of being a criminal pedophile and called for violence against him. Multiple strangers, including at least one armed with a deadly weapon, targeted Drake. I got to go down a little more. Sorry, wrong place. Hold on. I want to show. I found this little part right here interesting. Right here. Mr. Vital explains the mob mentality of why people can believe the allegations despite the fact that Drake is never accused of inappropriate behavior with a minor or something similar like grooming by an underage or formerly underage person he interacted with or their families and their acquaintances, and just about every alleged victim of such has come out to defense of Drake. According to Mike Rothschild, an author in the Rothschild, you got the Rothschilds coming out to defend you. An expert on the conspiracy theories, accusations of pedophilia are particularly ripe for conspiracy. He described the allegations of child sexual abuse cause people to immediately just lose their mind. Hold on. Okay, here you go. Here's what I want to show. UMG's publications have caused Drake reputational, financial, physical, and emotional harm, and all these harms were reasonably foreseeable. The Economist and YouGov poll Americans about the views of Drake in August 2023 and May 2024, shortly after the release of the recording and image. Listen to this. Drake's favorability rating dropped by 11%, while his unfavorability rating rose 13%. As of May 2024, Drake was now less popular in the United States than Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I was surprised that they used things they used for politicians for Drake. I don't think this had anything to do with him. Clearly somebody else just did this and he just took this data to put into the lawsuit. But that was just funny to me. Drake's lawyer is playing in our face. He knows a lot of the stuff that happened with him in Canada was for the beef with the Weeknd. Yeah, the XO people, he know. And I could just jump to this right here. On August 1st, 2024, Drake sent UMG another letter, again emphasizing the harm to Drake as well as his business that UMG was causing by continuing to promote the defamatory material. The letter demanded UMG issue a retraction and accept its responsibility in promoting and marketing the defamatory material. UMG's actions did not change after receiving 2 notices from Drake about the falsity of the allegations and description of the several harm he suffered as a result. UMG took no steps to address the matter. To the contrary, UMG continued to promote and license the defamatory material, including through numerous social media posts boasting of the recording's success, negotiating and paying for the recording to be nominated at the 2025 Grammys and played at the Super Bowl, which is what he don't want to happen. So, this whole thing, obviously, is crazy. The fact that you have a person who considered themselves hip-hop suing over a song it is what it is. He's saying he's been defamed because of the song. I've heard, has he heard Benny Siegel versus Jadakiss? That beef and what they said on those songs? I've heard some of the craziest stuff on songs that if this is what got you offended and just hurt, I don't know what to tell you, man. Let me show. I want to show this right quick. Let me show this. Shout out to Real Black.
I'm just sitting here.
Let me show this right quick.
Live, percolating with the man, the myth, the legend, my uncle, Rudy Ray Moore, also my nephew, Nate Dogg, and we doing this DPG, Rudy Ray Moore thing, giving a special shout out, a tribute to the greatest of all time. Like I said, without him, there wouldn't be no rap community. He was through with it before we knew what to do with it. And we're going to continue to push this real and keep it going on and taking it to the next level and letting the younger generation know what he means to this industry and what he means to this, community that we call rap, and how we should cherish every moment that we spend with the great Rudy Ray Moore.
So this is the person that Eddie Murphy played in that Netflix movie Dolomite. He was a comedian. This is why, if you pay attention historically in hip-hop, you've always had somewhat of a comedic aspect next to the hip-hop artist. If you go back to all the music videos and all that other stuff, there was always somebody next to the rapper who was supposed to be the comedian of the group. If you remember T.I., you had Lil Duval. If you remember Busta Rhymes had somebody. Most of these artists had someone that mimicked a comedian next to them. I want to show something from what he had to say, though.
Him went up in a jug and beat the hell out of him with a club. I took today and brought back yesterday. Took the 4th of July and put it in June and made leap year jump over the moon.
That's what it really is about. Boasting about yourself and how great you were. That's one of the foundations of rapping. The boisterous, just, charismatic, swaggy, talking good about yourself. It had a little bit of the pimp element to it, I'll be honest. Anonymous says, dude about to drop the lawsuit right before the Super Bowl. Now I believe this is just to prevent the song from being a part of the show. Initially, I didn't believe it. I've said that from the beginning. That's why I believe Kendrick dropped that other song, TV Off. I think that's going to be, I think he's going to play it, but he's probably not going to play the whole song. He's going to do what Usher did, play like 5-10 seconds of the song, maybe the opening part of the song, and then transition to another song. But yeah, he clearly don't want that song played. And from his perspective, I get it. I don't want the song, because it's not even about just what he's saying. He's saying that in front of a big audience, and it's probably going to go right back up to the #1 on the charts right after the Super Bowl. Then he's going to go on tour, and he's gonna be performing that song on tour throughout the country, and then he's going to perform it in Toronto. Like, it's going to be another year of, as Kendrick said, headshots for the year. Better walk around like Daft Punk. But anyway, let me play this right quick.
Crash out, guys. But, from a...
And by the way, can we stop using the word crash out this way? Crash out meant when somebody was just in it, just doing something that's going to completely end their life, whether that means death or prison. Crashing out didn't mean when you were having a public, fall meltdown or something. Anonymous says it went up after the lawsuit dropped. Yeah.
It's giving crash out, guys. But, from a legal perspective, it's an interesting move on Drake's part. Notably, he's not suing Kendrick Lamar, right?
Yet. He's not suing him yet.
He's suing Universal, which reps both of these artists.
So why would he do that?
Yeah, so it's interesting. It seems like a failed attempt sort of not to look petty, not to look like he's suing the artist that just, annihilated him in this rap battle. Let's just call it for what it is. That song is a banger, right?
The CBS Morning News is talking about a hip-hop battle. This is crazy. Jenny says the spiritual implications of They Not Like Us when all this time you've been an ish in the community's response to the song, powerful and liberating. Can't have that. Yeah. I love how everybody's using crash. Stop complaining. Nah, they're using it incorrectly. It's like people in New York saying something about sexy drill. There's no such thing as sexy drill. Drill music was dudes who was using a song to go shoot people. That's what drill music is called. They were telling you on the song, hey, we're going to kill you. And then they would ride to that song to go kill people. Calling it drill or saying you crashing out for public meltdown is just crazy.
But so, the idea is that Universal...
Carolyn, I didn't know you were a rap head.
I am.
Oh my God,
I'm a Lamar stan. I'm a Kendrick Lamar stan. But
and I will be honest, we're in an era now where most of these people are under the age of 45, 40. So they grew up with hip hop being one of the more popular genres on the planet. So hip hop is a part of their childhood, even if it wasn't the main thing they listened to. So you can't even look at people of other races now and think they're being, think it's BS when they say they listen to hip hop. So most of them, they grew up with it.
Look, legally speaking.
I'm saying, what? Sexy drill. This new to me. What's that guy named Cobain? Cash Cobain from New York. He's the one who, quote unquote, invented sexy drill, where he took the beats they do over in the UK, who's copying in Chicago, and he'd make it sexy. He sing about women on the song. And it's like, it's not drill then. It's not drill music. It's just trap music then.
The idea is that Universal has been representing Drake for many, many years, that they know these allegations are false. They wouldn't be repping him otherwise. And the fact that they push this distribution so much, the song has been streamed on Spotify over 1 billion times. They've really been backing Kendrick Lamar on this one. Look, it's unique in this industry. I think it's sort of poetic justice, the song Not Like Us. I mean, a lot of people in the community are saying, this is not how you deal with hip-hop rap battle beef. You go in the studio, you lay down some tracks. This is not what
Lord, this white woman, this is crazy.
Drake is doing. On legal grounds, I think he's on pretty shaky legal grounds. There's this concept of sort of informed consent. It's when you get into rap battles, you would expect that there's going to be some, back and forth. And there is also First Amendment free speech rights implicated here.
So yeah, the whites are sending crashing out, and they don't think he got a chance. Mystery Man says, sooner or later, white people will say they created hip hop. It's the one genre they haven't been able to absorb. Like rock and roll, black people just got. Unfortunately for our people, historically we've been creative, as we said here for the last couple of years. I feel like black people's creative has failed a little bit, but for the most part, we've been creative throughout history, and we tend to pick up and drop something quickly. We don't tend to hold on to things too long. There's only like two genres you could say we actually held on to, and that's R&B and hip hop. Everything else, we pick it up and we do it for about a decade or two, and then we kind of move on to something else, which is what they're trying to do now with Black Americans, trying to make Black Americans accept a global sound. It started with the UK drill situation, then you got Afrobeat and Amapiano and reggae. That you want to know, they started with reggae back in the 90s, honestly. That's really when they started, but reggae kind of came from R&B, so it's a little different. Mr. says she wants some Black D. Arnold said her small eyes crossing over kept me from not hearing the whole thing. Little pea eyes. No, ain't. It's some, pretty bulging eyes. Virginia says she's talking like she's around the way girl and in the know. I ain't want to say nothing. I see Mystery Man made a comment about that. I ain't want to say it. I want to assume that her and her husband are both Caucasians, and they just so happen to have grown up with hip hop being an influential thing in their life. Arnold says Latinx claiming hip hop is white people saying they created wake up. Yeah. All right. Also, I'm not gonna go through. I want to show something else he did that kind of rubbed people the wrong way. The as an example, a reference in his lawsuit, he used content creators, and he's proven that these content creators had this thumbnail with my house and the pedophile red dots on it, which kind of pushes this idea of me being guilty of something. And he's saying the YouTubers used it, and the label was paying these YouTubers to react to the video, and they whitelisted the songs, which incentivized them to react to the songs even more, even though it was a rap beef going on. People were waiting by these content creators who react to hip hop like this were waiting by their computers. They were waiting by their setups to record because everybody was waiting for either one of y'all to drop. I mean, think about it. Between Drake's first drop of Push-Ups and Euphoria, it was like 17 days. So people were waiting and talking about it consistently for 17 days before he even dropped. There was the labels didn't have to tell them to watch anything. They were already going to do it. But you see here, RDC reacted to it. They got 9 million, 4 million, I'm sorry. Kasha Not got 9 million. And people are pointing out, in this lawsuit for reference, he only used Black content creators. He didn't use the white content creators, even though he's on live stream with Aiden Ross and all these other people. What's the other guy's name? I forgot the other guy's name. They reacted to the song as well, but you only use the Black people as reference to prove your point. That was kind of, questionable. Honorable said, Regina, Pew Research say 90% of identifies white race. They're playing in our face with the minority BS that they adopted in the 70s. Yeah, I played that video of them admitting that they got their entire game plan from Black Americans. They switched their whole game plan and copied Black Americans. But anyway, Drake. A lot of fallout from this. If he wins, hip hop is forever changed, and the idea of rap battles and freedom of expression on your song is over. It's gonna be completely censored. If he loses, I think either way, win or lose, his career is forever tarnished. The people who love his old music will still listen to it, but in the future, his newer music just gonna, kind of come and go. The fact that if he's still in a label deal with UMG after this lawsuit, win or lose, doesn't bode well for his career. And it's kind of is what it is. Arnold says he only used blacks to get that anti-Semitic claim off. Aiden Ross is Jewish. So yeah, that's a good point. He didn't use Aiden Ross because he's Jewish, and it would kind of diffuse the whole. Well, even though he was a supporter of Drake, so I guess he was focused on people that were saying that Drake lost the battle to prove a point. Anyway, hip hop may forever change. I want to show.